The night air in Dhaka hung thick and heavy, not with the usual monsoon humidity, but with the metallic temps of fear. The rumble wasn't distant thunder. It was the sound of a city breaking apart. Down at the station, chaos had a rhythm, the desperate shove of the crowd, the screech of metal on metal, the cries that were swallowed by the sheer volume of panic. We were a river of humanity, all flowing toward one single artery of escape, the last train out. Every inch of the train was a battleground for survival. People clung to the sides, perched on the roof, squeezed into spaces that weren't meant for breathing, let alone living. Hands reached out, pulling loved ones up, while others slipped, lost to the surging mass. I found a precarious foothold on a coupling between two cars, the metal cold and unforgiving beneath my fingers. We weren't passengers. We were human cargo, bound together by a single, desperate hope to see the sunrise. Then the whistle, a sharp, piercing scream that cut through the din. The train lurched, a groan of tortured steel, and slowly we began to move. The station lights, hazy and dim, slid away, and we were plunged into the darkness of the countryside. The city's glow faded behind us, a dying ember in the rearview mirror of our lives. We were moving, a single overloaded serpent of steel and flesh, racing away from the inferno. The relative quiet of the countryside was a lie. It was broken by a new sound, a high-pitched whine that grew into a monstrous roar. Heads snapped up. Silhouetted against the faint moonlight, a shape descended from the sky. It was a predator, and we were its prey. The first volley of gunfire was a sudden, violent percussion. Bright orange sparks exploded against the train's metal skin like angry, fleeting stars. Screams erupted, a fresh wave of terror washing over us. The instinct was to cower, to make ourselves small, but there was nowhere to hide. We were utterly exposed. The train driver, a hero whose name we would never know, pushed the engine to its limit. The carriages swayed violently, the clatter of the wheels on the tracks, a frantic, desperate heartbeat. We were a blur, a streak of desperation hurtling through the dark landscape. From my vantage point, I could see the tracer rounds zipping past, stitching the night with deadly light. Each spark that hit the train was a reminder of how thin the line was between being on this train and being a memory left behind in the dirt. I remember seeing the face of a young boy, no older than my own brother, his eyes wide with a terror no child should ever know. His mother held him tight, her body a shield, her lips moving in a silent prayer. All around me were these small, heartbreaking tableaus of human connection in the face of annihilation. An old man shared his water with a stranger. A woman adjusted the shawl of another, a simple act of care amidst the madness. We were strangers, yet in that shared ordeal, we became a fractured, temporary family. The aerial assault was relentless. The plane would peel away, its engine noise fading just enough to give us a sliver of hope, only to circle back for another pass. The world became a terrifying cycle of roaring engines, flashing lights, and the percussive slam of bullets on metal. The air filled with the acrid smell of gunpowder and hot steel. We held on, our knuckles white, our bodies braced against the violent rocking of the train. The journey wasn't measured in miles, but in the intervals between each attack. Then ahead, a new structure loomed out of the darkness, a bridge, a long, skeletal expanse of iron stretching over a wide, dark river. Crossing it felt like an eternity. The train slowed slightly, the noise of the wheels changing as we moved from solid ground to the open trestle. The river below was a black, silent void. For a moment, the only sounds were the groaning of the bridge and the rhythmic clack-clack of the wheels. It was a fragile path, and we were so vulnerable, suspended between the sky and the water, with death raining down from above. The plane made another pass as we were midway across. The bullets ricocheting off the iron trusses, the sound echoing eerily over the water. A collective gasp, a held breath, until we felt the solid ground of the other side. We had made it across it. The attacks seemed to lessen after the river, the plane's engine a fading growl in the distance. Exhaustion, cold and heavy, began to settle over us. The adrenaline that had kept us rigid and alert ebbed away, leaving behind a deep, trembling ache in our bones. People slumped, heads resting on strangers' shoulders. Sleep was impossible, but a numb, weary trance took its place. The night dragged on, each click of the wheels a tiny step further from the hell we'd left behind. And then I saw it. A faint, almost imperceptible lightening of the eastern sky. A line of pale grey, then lavender, then a soft, blushing pink. The darkness began to retreat, pulling back its suffocating blanket to reveal the world. We were passing through endless rice paddies, their surfaces like mirrors reflecting the nascent dawn. The landscape was serene, a world away from the violence of the night. Mist clung to the fields, and the silhouette of a banyan tree stood stark against the growing light. As the sun finally broke over the horizon, its golden rays spilled across the land, bathing everything in a warm, gentle glow. It was the most beautiful sunrise I had ever seen. It wasn't just the start of a new day. It was a promise, a testament. Light had returned. The warmth on my face felt like a benediction. I looked around at the faces on the train, grimy and tear-streaked, but with a new light in their eyes. The shared horror of the night was still there, but now it was overlaid with a profound shared relief. We had survived. We had ridden through the fire and the darkness, and we had made it to the dawn. We didn't know what lay ahead, what new challenges this new day would bring. We had lost our homes, our city, parts of ourselves, but as the train continued its journey under the hopeful morning sun, we carried with us the unshakable truth that we were still here, and for now, that was everything. Thank you for watching and for bearing witness to this story. If you've been moved, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us share more stories that need to be heard. Stay safe and be kind to one another.